We have plenty of assholes. We want to do this.
This is a bit.
We want to start with this plate, or we have a couple. We have a couple of pages.
I mean, there's so many pages.
Yeah. So let's start with this.
Well, I'm gonna lay this out chronologically because this is kind of a saga. It's spread out over a number of years, so
Yes.
we don't really need articles. We might not want that YouTube though.
Okay, we got it on. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, we got that on here. Right there. Yeah, okay, let's
That's
start
pretty good.
there. Okay.
All right,
Action.
more asshole news. Here we've got a bit of a saga involving the American Texan black thrash metal band APSU.
What is wrong with these guys?
And I'm going to tell the story chronologically. Right now we're looking at a picture of the mastermind behind APSU.
That's a good name for him. Who listens to these guys?
His name is PROSCRIPTOR MCGOVERN. I want to say this. I like APSU. I actually like this band, which is part of the reason. You found it a little intimidating. But honestly, this kind of band is right up my alley, and I like it.
PROSCRIPTOR MCGOVERN.
I love black thrash, so...
Shooter McGovern. It's like Shooter McGovern, PROSCRIPTOR McGovern.
So this whole saga is very disappointing to me.
Well, once you meet this guy, though, you're going to be like, do I really want to listen to this band?
I had never put any research into
probably
PROSCRIPTOR MCGOVERN.
No one knows how he acts.
But yes, okay. So we're going to go chronologically and come to the present day. Starting in 2017, they're a three-piece band, PROSCRIPTOR MCGOVERN, he's not playing drums right here, but he's the drummer vocalist. So he does what he's doing here. He gets someone else to fill in on
power
drums.
trio. He's like Phil Collins, basically.
Right.
Sometimes Phil Collins would play and sing, but then sometimes Phil Collins would want to be out front. So this guy's sort of like this really cringy black metal kind of Phil Collins.
He's very cringy. We watched a few interviews with him. He's quite okay.
Yeah, he's
all right. The bass player is Zizu. The gentleman on the right here, and the guitar player who went by Vis Krom. I'm not sure how you pronounce that.
Krom.
On the left over there.
That's like Krom from Conan. Krom, if you don't have to help me, then the hell with you.
Anyway, during their 2017 tour, guitarist Vis Krom came out to the rest of the band as transgender, saying, we don't need to change my name. Nothing will change much at all, but you should know. And promptly upon the tour being over, PROSCRIPTOR MCGOVERN here fires her.
Did it in a text. We could show that to you.
I think there was a combination of texts and phone calls. I think we closed everything.
No, we have it here. I'm not going to close this stuff. We need to get it.
Okay.
Right here. Right, so here we go.
Basically saying you fired yourself when you made the decision.
Well, we can read the text.
Very not woke things he's saying. Very ill-informed.
It was documented. So let's do the now.
Oh my God.
Now I've watched Shooter McGovern here. Is his voice. I'm gonna try to do his voice because he's got that kind of voice with that kind of nerdy kid that comes up to you and just kind of tells you about like the latest H.P. Lovecraft book that he read, or a passage from
unprompted
from the Book of Lies from Aleister Crowley,
or finding the smallest reason to bring it up.
Yeah, and he's got to be as cavalt as possible, like at all times. You want to punch him in the face. You want to put him in a garbage can. Anyway, so friend, I have to ask thee your decision. Is this how he texts?
No, it's accurate.
Yeah. So either way, after philosophically weighing out keeping you or terminating you, kills the band. Just the unbelievable. He has to just like William Shatner. Just unbelievable. Did you? This line's my favorite. Did you ever fucking think about my legacy? Who fucking talks like that?
All right, let's go back to the picture of him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this one. Yeah. Here.
His legacy.
My legacy. Did you ever think about my Imagine if I told you that. Would you ever think about my legacy?
You say that to me every day.
Do you even care about my legacy? I'm going to just say it to people from now on. If they're like, I disagree with you, I'm like, do you even care about my legacy? You are very selfish.
So, saying shit like that in a very ridiculous way, those are texts, he obviously didn't think would come out. So that's how he just texts people.
They always come out.
That's how he texts. That's how he converses normally with people. Can you imagine being in a band with this guy?
Imagine being in a tour bus with him. Like you're just sitting there trying, you're smoking a joint. And he's like, I have to tell you something. It's like, I'm just, He's like, I was reading an H.P. Lovecraft novel, and Azathoth, the destroyer, rises from the ocean, and he's the immortal one. And it's very much like that passage from the Book of Lies I read from the Thelemic religion of Aleister Crowley.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, I just want to, okay. I'm just watching fucking the show right now.
All right. And apparently he also said things to Melissa like, there's no place for a woman in APSU.
There's no place for a woman in APSU.
I'm just going to say this now. Just like looking at that band, he didn't say it right there.
Okay.
I think
He wants to be his friend, though.
I think a woman could be in that band.
You will always be my friend. And this will never, ever, ever, ever change. Ever.
Thank you for everything, but you're out of the band.
Yes.
But,
Understood?
McGovern, a.k.a. Russ.
Shooter McGovern.
Went on to, or no, at this point, Melissa said, okay, I'm out of the band. I do not give you permission to use my playing and my songs.
The riffs that I wrote.
I think she had written songs.
Right, contributions to the album.
That, you're not allowed to use because they were working on an album.
Fair.
So, since you're going to kick me out of the band because you
can't use my shit.
A piece of trash.
Usually when I got kicked out of it, they would just stop using my stuff because I guess it wasn't really good. They were
kind of what you do.
They were just kind of like, they just felt sorry for me. Maybe that's why they were playing my stuff. Like that last band I was in, maybe they were just kind of just feeling for sorry for me. But once I was gone, they were like, God, thank God I don't play this song anymore.
Anyway, but Russ McGovern here definitely wanted those songs. And his reaction to her saying you can't have them was like, why? Why not?
Dude, like, but
I can't have the shit you wrote.
It's my legacy. I don't understand.
I've claimed it. You wrote it for APSU. At that point,
you're very much...
alchemically becomes mine.
You know what you're like? You remind me of the story of Nyarlathotep. Okay? This is an H.P. Lovecraft short story about this terror unleashed upon the earth in the form of Nyarlathotep.
All right.
I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but you know what that is.
So, the hint of this, which I didn't catch on at all, October 2018, Melissa didn't come out publicly until then, and it was inspired by like political stuff. There was some legislation coming through that was going to make it harder, like basically make it so you couldn't legally recognize trans people at all. So she came out at that time, didn't talk about APSU at all, and someone who was in like a Facebook group with her like screenshotted something she'd said in that group and put it on Twitter, which basically was like the worst transphobic thing that ever happened to me was like I kicked out of my band. So like someone else actually outed this all. That wasn't her.
She wasn't even gonna talk about this.
She probably would have eventually today.
Shooter McGovern probably was going to talk about it.
But that's when it first came up. And Melissa didn't really comment much more. She acknowledged that happened and didn't deny it. But she didn't like make a further comment on it. And McGovern, of course, didn't say anything.
Yes.
But
anything
right around that time, their label, Candlelight Spine Farm, started contacting Melissa to get her to okay the releasing of the album. And McGovern was apparently trying to get them to not contact her, saying she had quit and that they didn't need her permission, but legally they do. With the way APSU was formed legally at that point, they needed her permission to release the album.
Right.
So the label was trying to do their due diligence and saying, what can we do to get you to do this? And here's another funny thing about the legacy was Melissa said, I will sign off if you put the trans symbol on the album cover to be part of your legacy.
No, but I was reading, didn't they ask her to rejoin the band?
No.
In humility?
No, they did not ask her to rejoin, and I don't think she would have anyway.
Well, yeah, obviously not.
But, she even said, she was saying, look, you can't use the songs I wrote. For the stuff I've already recorded, you can get some other guy they knew to re-record it. And he was like, no, you're a much better guitar player. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have fucking kicked her out of the band.
Is she one of those kind of guitar players that just needs to be a drummer that should turn to be?
No, I don't think so. She's actually in a heavy metal band right now. Okay, so that's pretty cool.
She's not like a guitar masturbator, is she?
I mean, I have to admit, of the APSU I've listened to, she's not the original guitar player. I think the APSU I listened to was Earl before her.
He's gone through many. He's driven many guitar players.
Also note, he's not the founding. McGovern isn't the founding member of APSU either,
really?
but he kind of took over.
It was one of those
somehow
guys. Yeah.
just took over the band. Originally, he was just the drummer.
Yeah, he's kind of like.
And then became the lyric writer and the vocalist, and then he just kind of like took over the whole thing. And there's
he's very manipulative.
No other founding member.
Yeah, he's kind of like Adolf Hitler. He's kind of very manipulative.
So clearly a lot going on with this guy. Kind of a gem.
He kind of just forces his way in and just kind of he just hypnotizes you with his powers, with his legacy.
Anyway, after Melissa's final offer of her deal to sign off, obviously he didn't go for that. So he announced at that point, January 2020, APSU is broken up.
APSU has broken up.
APSU is gone.
Yeah, but however, we're going to make a new band.
Well, no, he didn't. And for months after this, it was, whatever. It's gone. APSU fans are sad or whatever.
Should I read this? Is this him?
No, this is not the interesting part. Oh no,
he wrote a poem though.
He wrote a poem. He did not acknowledge any of the stuff going on with Melissa, which was clearly why he had to dissolve the band. Now, looking back on it now with the knowledge now.
So who did he write this poem to? Did he write this to Melissa?
We don't know.
Okay.
You can interpret it.
This is how. Okay, let's read it. Let's read it real quick. After meager deliberation and zero remorse, I have decided to dissolve. I wrote a poem about the dissolution of my band, ABSU, after 3 decades of existence. These guys are around for 3 decades.
This guy is also pretty old.
How did someone put up with these guys?
He's not a young, dumb guy. He's an old
cringy
piece of shit.
weirdo. Collectively and universally, this is how this guy communicates. I know guys like this. They're autistic. They're called autistic people. Okay. And that's not making fun of autistic people. This guy just needs, to be put on the spectrum, and I know people that can help him. So, this decision is finite due to the insoluble circumstances which have led to the ultimate result. No amount of time, exertion, formula, or fashion can alter my verdict. You just had to say, I broke up the band, and that's my final decision. I'm sorry, everyone. Translated into that, but no, he has to like write everything in like an H.P. Lovecraft novel.
Listen, he has a legacy.
Oh yes, I forgot. I'm sorry,
He's got to be
legacy.
On brand at all times.
Yes, okay. So you have to be in character. No, I don't think there is a character. I think this is just him. Okay. Refusing to further comment on the subject, I leave thee. He doesn't say you. He says thee.
We even saw that he put it in a text. This is an official statement.
That's right.
He puts this in casual text as well.
He speaks in Middle English or something, or Middle Modern English kind of combination. What does that Roman numeral mean? Is that just like a
That's a 7.
Right. So why is that like an out? Why did he need to put that?
It's a symbol.
Oh, so that's not like
it's a secret.
It's not like that's not like figure. See,
right.
Figure 7.
You better be careful there, unless you inadvertently cast a spell.
Oh yeah. Okay. You gotta. Well, the way I read it, maybe it's like neck to harada. So for there are bitter words of chaos held immobile under the ground, and the sovereigns who personify them reign over opacities and beyond. Is that like something from like the Book of Law or something, or the Book of Lies? 2. Beseech these all begetters in darkness, outside the circles of time. In chaos, sleight of hand, the deep will respond. 6. Never blow out the Eastern candle. Prescriptor.
Don't fucking blow out that candle.
You wrote these passages yourself. He probably lifted them.
I feel like he's quoting
like Aleister Crowley or something.
Text, scripture.
Yeah, but he put his name on them, like some. You're supposed to put
that's
who
his
made
statement.
them.
All right. So as far as we knew, in January 2020, Prescriptor had conceded, broken up his band, wasn't fighting anymore. But July, current times, 2020, we announced that though APSU has dissolved, Prescriptor, along with bass player Azazu and some other guitar player they picked up somewhere, are reforming as Prescriptor McGovern's APSU.
Shooter McGovern's APSU. Now that's APSU with a P.
Go to the Blabbermouth article.
APSU. Former APSU drummer and vocalist launches Prescriptor McGovern's APSU. Now, what's the difference? What is an APSU as opposed to an ABSU?
I know this guy is very particular.
No, you think?
about the spelling of the band's
Imagine
name.
trying to learn a song from this guy. He's like
They
showing you riffs.
Released a number of albums as APSU that seemed to be self-titled, but with the band's name spelled a little bit different.
Yeah, with a P instead of a B.
Well, before it was an APSU with a Z.
Oh, it's got a little symbol.
This one, yeah, it's got a symbol on the U.
What is that
and
symbol
a P.
called? What is that symbol called?
So, I think ABSU with the Z which was an album, was like the Sumerian spelling.
Oh, that's Sumerian, but now it's Mesopotamian.
So,
Mesopotamian.
I don't know what APSU is.
Mesopotamian.
But I'm sure it's highly meaningful.
Yeah.
But yeah, they announced they're reforming with a forthcoming album, reforming without Melissa, of course, on Agonia Records' new record label.
Who signed these guys?
Agonia Records.
Why would they like put themselves through that?
They might not know. Like, if you look on this Blabbermouth article,
Yeah, I guess
like,
it's not a big deal for them.
You know, there's no mention.
And someone buys these albums.
Like, now that we've pieced all these articles coming out after together, we can see, like, this dissolution happened because he kicked out a member of the band that he needed to legally be there, and the reason he kicked that member out was because she was trans.
Yes, they didn't like it.
So, unless you piece this all together, you might not know, because McGovern's certainly not going to tell you that.
Was a threat to his legacy.
Yes.
And when someone's a threat to your legacy, you have to take action.
But I thought it was interesting. It said this album is going to feature the likes of Ross Friedman, Ross the Boss.
Ross Friedman? Why would Ross Friedman have anything to do with these guys?
Jeff Becerra, Possessed. I am disappointed.
Jeff Becerra.
I'm sure he's not aware. And Rune Erickson, Aura Noir and Ultimas, which is pretty big. It's a big deal.
These
to
guys
be
are
on
all old men.
Well, yes,
so they don't really, you know.
They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they're like.
I'm just saying, like, there's a bunch of other guests on it too. Like, why is there all these guests on this album?
How'd this guy get Ross the Boss?
How dare you take Ross
Imagine
the
this
Boss.
guy like coming up to Ross about, so Ross, you know, when you did Triumph of Steel, you know, oh no, she wasn't on Triumph. What am I talking? I'm talking stupid shit. Now when you did the Into Glory ride, you know, when you did Gloves of Metal show, like that part with the solo, you know.
All right.
Ross was like, yeah, whatever, man. You know, like play some softball, man. I got a batting cages in Queens, you know.
All right. Now this is a funny quote where he waxes about the reforming of this band.
Waxing.
If you'd like
Poetic.
where
are we starting here? Right here? Says.
Yes.
Shooter McGovern says. Prescriptor. That's just a perfect name for this guy. I'm gonna call him a Shooter though, after the Happy Gilmore movie, Shooter McGovern. Scripture says, I want people to know that I disbanded APSU to form Prescriptor. It's specifically kind of like, you know, Jack Russell's What Great Way. It's Prescriptor McGovern's APSU with underpinning intention, despite the inclusion of my name as a memorial bearing. Who uses these words? Autistic people. That's who do. To pay tribute to the former sanctuary. What does that mean? I don't know what the language. What is he? This guy just talks in like riddles. I do not consider myself the band's leader.
No.
More of an administrator. That's perfect. This guy is not a leader. This guy is a manager. He that's what he is, which is not a good thing. You're a manager or a leader, and you're a manager. You're an asshole. Okay, I may be oppressive. I may be an oppressive commissioner, but Prescriptor McGovern's APSU is equal collective unit. So everyone, it's democracy? Are you claiming?
Keep going.
It's not a democracy. Prescriptor continues regarding the album's lyrical approach. This album is written for those who are curious and unwearied in their quest of the arcane knowledge. He's following like I have, with a vast extension of detriment of time and space, the old gods collected knowledge deemed in regard of my subject theories of mythological occult metal.
That's his official description of what their band makes is mythological occult metal.
You know, from the Thelemic Magic, so he's referring to Aleister Crowley and the Zos Vel Thanatos, which I don't know what that is. I'm not familiar with that occult, that tome of occultism. Formula to fractal ontology, and obviously this guy, you know, he's very
Near East mythology.
switched on in the esotericism.
I'm sure he's got some really weird books.
This guy he has many books on death.
Like some like old tomes. Like
He's
first
got original
edition.
edition print
Yes.
of Book of Lies and you know.
Okay. All right. So when he made this announcement,
Like
this is when Melissa started to come
wait,
out.
one more thing. You think like you'd find it like interesting to talk about like occultism with this guy if you want, but it would just turn out to be really annoying. Like say, hey, tell me about like the Thelemic religion.
Well, you wouldn't be able to tell him anything.
Yeah, right.
He would lecture to you.
He'd be like, you don't know that? Well, let me explain.
But like, say you had any degree of knowledge.
Yeah, he wouldn't
like,
listen to you.
and you tried to have a conversation.
No,
with
he would
him,
just talk.
Like he wouldn't let you tell him.
Yeah, he would just talk. He wouldn't.
You could tell.
Yeah, absolutely. He's that guy.
All right. So when this came out, Melissa, who had some issues with them trying to publish her music behind her back, got a little concerned that this was about to happen again. Like she doesn't know if they're using anything of hers. It's on a totally new record label, new band name. So she decided to just come out with her story at this point. And released all those texts, told everyone exactly what happened, because before this it was just kind of like a rumor, really, where someone else, not even her, had shared a screenshot on Twitter of her saying something. And now it's her confirming that this all happened, showing all the dirty texts, the receipts, and hoping that she doesn't get her riffs taken.
Right, so he still wants those riffs for his
We
legacy.
don't know, but he may very well have written all new material.
I listened to this. This is like, I guess.
I watched that. It's totally useless.
It's garbage. Yeah,
well, it's the APSU logo changing to APSU.
Oh, that's what they did. Okay, because I thought it was some kind of intro to a song. I was like,
it's totally useless.
Yeah, it's completely. It's not. They're not giving,
I looked at it too.
He's the kind of guy who's not going to give you a sample of anything. You're going to have to pay for it. All right. Gunshots. Don't worry. So are we done with this guy? Are we done with this?
So, I just want to make a conclusion again. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to a complete cringe lord like Aleister Crowley worshipping doofus, like fronting a black thrash metal band. What is that?
Just lighting off fireworks.
So like, and I honestly like the music, and it's very disappointing to me to see this. I have no idea, like how can you be so into all this like mythological shit and like exploring the arcane and all this esoteric,
very easily.
And like you would think you would be open to
no, these
people doing weird shit with their bodies.
No, you ever met one of these guys?
Obviously not.
Yeah, no, this is them. He's right on target.
But it's like, and yet you're such a traditionalist when it comes to gender. Like,
anyone who takes it this seriously, he's right on target.
And like, you look at that picture of them on stage, like, it's not like they're a nu metal band dressed in cargo shorts. like a trans woman's not even gonna look up out of place up there. Like,
they wouldn't be able to tell if they're all.
You wouldn't be able to tell necessarily.
Yeah, if you guys are all about, like your
you're all kind of feminine anyway. Like, isn't there a lot of like?
Yeah, you wear makeup
isn't
too.
All this like chaos magic like celebrate the feminine too as well. Like,
yeah, it's all about.
That's like, it just seems like this huge cognitive dissonance.
Listen, Aleister Crowley had sex with a lot of men and animals.
Exactly. So. Like, you think like if you're gonna be into this shit, you have to be open minded. And like when it like being transgender, like, oh, that's kind of magical, like,
yeah, you'd be like a special
like
wizard.
You're rejecting your physical reality and pursuing like your higher being. Like,
they are from Texas.
He is from Texas,
which is weird. When you told me they were from Texas, I'm like, these guys are from Texas.
I mean, you can kind of see it. Like, he grew up like in the middle of nowhere, or he might be from outside Dallas. I'm not sure where exactly he's from. I think the band's based outside Dallas.
Yeah.
You could see like he stay in his basement just reading weird books, not talking to people.
I have many books on death.
That's clearly how he formed. But I don't know. It's such a shame. I think like I like this band. I think it would be pretty cool if they had.
I don't like them. They should just break up and.
They had a trans woman guitarist. Like, they would be the shit. Honestly, like all like the young metal people would be on this band so hard if like.
Now they should just not play.
If they kept her as the guitarist, like,
yeah,
because this kind of music is kind of in,
Yeah, this is definitely kind of on the forefront of like that sort of hipstery kind of metal, which I don't like.
So yeah, he's really just.
I don't like bands like this. I don't like. These are kind of like these hot bands. Like they're kind of like.
This is a really old band though.
Yeah. I've never been familiar with them. So. Like I don't like. Yeah, they just. I see something like that. I'm like, yeah, I'll pass. like anything.
But yeah, before this, like I kind of like I knew their old stuff. I had this vague. I kind of remembered. I think that they got canceled, but I couldn't remember it was for this.
Yeah.
But now it's all like hard confirmed and out there, and it's just like fuck.
All right, let's move on.
Fuck this.
Okay.